Mr.RIZWAN AHMED, our proud alumnus, who completed his undergraduation in our prestigious institution on 5th of this day. Currently, he is working as Technical Solution Architect in Mastercard, Australia, specialized in the fields of payment technology, project management, and enterprise design, IT project and service management, and compact center design. Having 18 years of industry experience and residential working experience in various countries like India, UK, Australia, and Japan. We are your professors in fact. Today we have a chance to listen to you. And then, last but not the least, I would like to welcome all my dear students for today's session. Finally.
So first I would like to welcome our chief guest and the top alumnus of 2007 batch, Mr. Ahmed, for this index seminar. So I also thank Mr. Ahmed for inviting, for accepting our invitation immediately without any inspiration. And I would like to congratulate the department department, Professor Sulama, for and I want to partake for the continuously and consistently doing a lot of webinars regarding the various topics. So I actually know that, so beyond the syllabus, we should learn many things. So this is one of the departments carrying a lot of programs we conducted for the past 1 year. I hope that this will continue in the preceding year as well. So now coming to the topic, so I don't know much about financial management, so however I can speak something. So as per the RBI report in 2020 to 21, so nearly 43.7 billion rupees has been transacted to digital mode. So that has, it was around 34 billion in 2019 to 20. And as the report increase in the improvement of the digital transaction during 2020 to pandemic. And this will continue and the digital transaction will improve significantly the programming as well. So with this viewers, once again I welcome you all. Thank you, brother. Now I would like to ask our speaker, Mr.RIZWAN Ahmed, to take over this.
President of the School of Nursing in the Avadi was at the Summit of the Salegh. I attribute all my success to Almighty. Firstly, thank you so much for making time to meet me. I have been speaking to the college since 2007. That says a lot for being here.
In these 4 years, everything that you have learned is the foundation of everything you are learned now is the basics of how to learn technology. Scary, isn't it? Like 4 years, 64 papers, labs, all this struggle, and then this guy comes in wearing a blue blazer and he's like telling me, I've learned nothing. Yes, you've learned nothing. All you've learned is how to learn technology. Because someone somewhere is inventing something that's going to take your job away right now. Yeah? Right now. Like ChatGPT, like if the whole world is freaking out. Oh yeah, it's going to take over the people, they're like, we are going to become robots, slave to robots, all this is happening. Well, yes, it will, but that will change. So we'll talk about that inshallah. All right? Be hungry to learn. Always be hungry to learn. Like anything and any platform, you should have no hesitancy in learning about it. Like just me, taking an auto drive, to share to Mount Road, the auto driver was actually telling me about how lithium is produced, how battery cars are going to take over the world, and I enjoyed that conversation thoroughly, right? And he was like, this guy is like, and India is amazing at that, right? You want to understand politics, go to the saloon center. Go for a haircut, you will understand everything there is to know about politics. True? Right? If you want to understand corruption, go to the tea stall. You will understand everything. But what's happened there now? Something amazing has happened there. Like, a few years ago, I was doing this trekking, somewhere in remote Mangalore. Did a 6-kilometer hike, and then eventually I went to this tea stall, got a cup of tea, and I paid cash, and the guy says, sir, here's the QR. I was like, what QR? And he actually threw at my face the UPI QR to pay for the transaction. That's the technology that we are talking about. In 2017, the finance minister at the time, Mr. P. Chidambaram, stood in the parliament and actually ridiculed the government at the time, and he said, how do you think people who are doing, selling tomatoes and, taking auto rickshaws would accept credit cards and debit cards? Like, where's the point of sale machine there? Where's the, the card machine there? Where's the reader? Where's the internet? How are you going to facilitate this? That was the question at the time. See what's happened now. The smallest level, there is penetration. There's penetration and there's actual technology. The technology that you use in the topmost class in Adidas and all the big brands that you can think of in the Apple stores of the world, whatever you can think of here in India, the technology that they use is the same technology that a street vendor uses as well. Yes or no? That's the digitization that has come into play. All right. So what I do for a living, I actually build all that. So I work for MasterCard. I've been with MasterCard since 2014. I've done various roles within MasterCard. Now I actually head the solution architects team. I have a team of 6 people. And we build payment technologies. So what do I mean by that? So your Apple Pay, your Google Pay, your Samsung Pay, your Fitbit, all of these technologies, your guest checkouts. So in India, we recently had a big issue. I don't know if you guys follow news. So MasterCard and Visa were banned from actually making transactions. We were in the news for the wrong reasons. So we actually put all the minds here. We solved for that. In 6 months, from being, the company that the government actually told us you can't do transactions, you can't issue cards with MasterCard branded cards in India. In 6 months, we solved it. What we did is called tokenization, digitizing the card. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Apart from my professional life, on my personal side, I'm a student of knowledge. I'm Talib al-Ilm. I studied in Medina for 6 months. I am a teacher. I'm a khatib in Sydney. I teach in the local mosque there. So that's on my personal side. If anybody is interested, I can give you a good talk about that. Let's go to the slide. Now we go to the slide. All right, what's happening? Everything I've told you is what's happening, right? The world's transforming consistently and very rapidly towards the new world. And new payment methods are coming on every single day. UPI is the latest of what you see today, right? Your QR code. Anyone has ever wondered how it works? Your engineering minds. The inquisitiveness of the engineering mind. Has anyone, everybody's paid, right? Everyone here has made a UPI transaction, yes or no? Yes. Have you ever wondered how and how the whole technology works and how the payment actually happens in 3 seconds? Like from one bank to the other bank, boom. And this Paytm machine is amazing. I'm actually taking photos like this crazy guy, the tourist guy comes in and start taking photos. That's what I'm doing at these tea stalls. I was paying someone and this machine started saying, I have paid. And the speaker started blowing up on my face. I was like, what's happening? And then it's like, there's a value proposition there. The value proposition there is the seller is so busy, he can't mind every single man paying, for the transaction. So that audio helps him. Think about the use cases there. Somebody who's blind, physically challenged. He can actually listen, right? So those are the kind of value propositions that technology keeps coming for. And that's where all of us engineers come into play. We bring in the solutions, right? One of the, the tech speakers, he said something amazing, in front of Bill Gates. I think I remember that all the time. There's no jobs for everyone in the world. Scary, isn't it? There's no jobs for everyone in the world, but there is job for every person who has a solution in his mind. There's a job for every person who has a solution in his mind. You need to become problem solvers. That's what engineering, this 4 years of training helps you train your mind. That basic, ethos is inculcated in your mind. The thinking process changes. And as part of the change, you need few things. You need communication, you need language, you need to speak the right vocabulary, you need to know how to communicate, soft skills, all of this is extensions of that. But the fundamental core thing that we all need is the ability to solve. Now, in the present, as we stand here, we see that digital acceptance is growing. We have more types of transactions coming in. We have QR Pay, we have Tap Pay, you have contactless, you have tokenization, all of this happening. Buy now, pay later. Anybody knows what buy now, pay later is? Anyone heard of it? Say. Don't stand, say. I hate people standing, say. Credit cards. Credit cards does it, right? So funnily, HDFC Bank in India had been doing it since 2003. Okay? Then comes a company called Afterpay in Australia. Okay, Nick Molnar comes in, walks into the office, speaks to me, speaks to a few of my colleagues, talks about this great idea called buy now, pay later. I laugh at him and I say, I've been using it in India when I was in India, with this bank called HDFC. He goes back to the drawing board, sketches the whole idea, comes back the next time, visits us 6 months later, puts the plan on paper, opens up a company called Afterpay. Google it, Afterpay. Check out how much worth, what's the market revenue today. Their share price is $185 USD. They started from an idea. The same concept which India had since time immemorial, 20 plus years. They just copied the same idea and they started Afterpay. Afterpay is one of the biggest success stories. Square bought them recently. And lastly, you have marketplaces. So your Amazon, your Flipkart, all of these things that you know in India, right? So these are all the marketplaces that has come across. Facebook has its own marketplace, right? Instagram has brought its own marketplace. Snapchat has its own marketplace. LinePay, WeChat, or Alipay, all of these guys have their own marketplace. Why? When you communicate with people, you're actually talking about products. You're actually telling them, I bought this phone, I bought this thing there, I went to the shopping mall, I bought this shirt, I went to a movie, etc., etc. All of this is data. So this data is actually being transmitted to these partners, and they're actually thinking, oh, we have so much data passing through us, what do we do with it? Here comes marketplace, that's the solution. They actually provide you links, they don't sell it, they actually give you the hyper referral to someone else who's actually making the sale. They get the clip. That's marketplace. And lastly, super apps, your phone pay. My wife installed it the other day, because she lost her Google Pay, I don't know why. That's a different story. So eventually we got Apple Phone Pay working, and I was just amazed that how interactive that interface was. Anybody uses phone pay here? Phone pay? All of you need to go ahead and open a bank account, please. Put 10 rupees, 100 rupees, whatever is the minimum, save it. Don't ask your parents. Shameful to ask money from parents. I paid my own college fees doing that work that I did. Okay, that's another story. All right. So, super apps, because of the stickiness that you have. People have this habit. Yale published this recent study where people actually flick their phones. In a minute, they actually do it 2 or 3 times. People have just this habit of checking my phone just for the sake of it. No one's calling you, no one's texting you, but just people have become, hyper, interactive with their devices, right? That's changed. And that is where stickiness comes into play. So if I am a bank, if I'm ICICI or SDFC or the big banks of the world, I'm actually thinking, what makes a customer come back to my banking app? What should I do to make them come back to my banking app, right? And that's where I start giving them push notifications, right? The bank sends you a message and say, check out this latest offer, right? We see that you have a good credit with us, increase your credit balance, right? Those kind of interactions comes into play. The other day I went to this restaurant to eat. The nice girl who was there, who was serving me, actually left a note, right? Before I could pay the bill, she said, it was nice actually having a chat with you and serving you. That's customer service, isn't it? Right? That small pleasantry message actually means that she's going to earn more trip, right? That's basically what happens. That's customer service, right? There's always a monetary exchange. So let's go into the topic now. Let's see how money has evolved. Anybody knows how the world money came into place? The word money, the origin of the word money. Next slide. At the first, so the word money itself came from a Roman goddess name called Julia Moneta. Okay, and the first coins that were ever minted in a temple. Okay, and that's where moneta, money, that's how the word came into place. At first, the exchange used to happen through something called as the barter system. So barter system is, I would have 2 bags of dates and somebody would have 2 bags of wheat. I would exchange the dates for wheat. But the problem with that system is, what if I don't want the wheat? Right? Then there's a problem, right? There's no exchange of value there. And then the next evolution of that was the coins, the gold coins and the silver coins. They were embossed with the kings and queens of the time. But the problem with that again was the intrinsic value of gold and silver was higher than the face value of what was exchanged. Like if you actually give a gold coin to someone else, the intrinsic value of gold was even higher than what I was actually buying back. Right? There was a problem there as well. Excuse me. And then the evolution happened. The biggest evolution that happened was China invented paper. Right? 1,000 years ago, China invented paper, and then when paper came, paper money was introduced. right? So what was happening now was somebody was taking authority and putting a value on a piece of paper. So in those times it will be the imprints of the king and queen. Now it's the Reserve Bank's governor who actually signs on each cash note. Have you ever seen the cash note? Now you have all colors, don't you? In India, it's very confusing when you come here and like you're actually flicking through the notes. Like, there was this pink color note that I think it's gone now. It doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, that's wonderful, right? So we have multicolor, rainbow colored notes now in India. Have you ever seen the note? How the note works? What's actually there in the note? Like, people actually do this, right? When you give them a 500,000 rupee note, they actually do this. What do they look for? What? There's a max stripe there. There's a max stripe there. There's a color blueprint, embedded blueprint there, watermark there, right? All of this actually, telling that ledger of a note, accounts people in the room, that the ledger of the note is actually genuine. So somebody is actually vouching for it and saying this piece of paper actually carries 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees of value, right? So that's what happened. Then the problem with that money was, the paper money was moving it from place 1 to place B, right? Imagine somebody shipping money from New York to Los Angeles, it's like 1,400 kilometers across, the US borders. How do you do that? So there's problem with, robbery, etc., etc. Then came the concept of banks. Banks came into play. They said, hang on, we will store the money for you and we can actually exchange the value through us, which introduced two things, money orders and checks. Money orders came in and checks came into play, right? I don't think you guys, any of you would have ever seen money orders. It's our generation, right? We would have seen money orders, right? Money orders came into play and checks came into play. But the problem with checks again was initially that it used to take few days for the checks to clear because the banks used need to check the money, etc., etc., few process that needs to take place and then the value changes. Then checks became proficient and they started getting processed almost the same night. They started clearing the same night. Then came the massive evolution of all, 1965. Now we are in 1965, 1,000 years have passed. 1965, what happens? Discover introduces plastic cards, right? Well, there's a dispute with that fact because in 1937, Western Union introduced a plastic card for exchange within the Western Union group, but commercially, Discover in the US brings the first Discover Club, Diners Club card. So Discover brings the Diners Club card. Diners Club card comes into play. Then comes Visa, then comes MasterCard. So you actually see the evolution of plastic cards coming into play. So the same, now you don't have to carry cash, you actually carry the piece of plastic in your hand to make the transaction. Now the problem with pulling out money and exchanging money was, you have to go to the bank still, right? You still have to go to the bank and actually make the transaction. Then they said, we need to make it easier. What did they do? They brought ATMs. ATMs came into play. You can actually withdraw money from ATMs around the world. There was a problem there as well. Bank A's ATM alone can do transactions on them. Remember those days? You can only pull money from HDFC cards, bank. If you do it from another bank, it will decline or it will charge you or the card will get swallowed by the machine. All these problems used to happen. Then the system improvised and they connected all the banks free of charge. You can actually make transactions across. That was that. Then comes the biggest change of all, internet. 1990s, internet comes into play. E-commerce is introduced, right? Amazon comes in, PayPal comes in, Google comes in, all these massive giants, the IT tech giants come into play, and they start introducing the concept of transaction, where you actually go ahead and enter a card number online and purchase a good. That happens. But still the problem remains. The problem is, you have to remember 16 digits of your card number. What if you're not carrying your wallet with you? What if you're not carrying your card and you want to buy something on the spot? You can't do that because you don't remember your card numbers. Anybody here remembers a 16-digit card number? Nobody, right? Everybody remembers the phone number. Everybody remembers the email address, right? By the way, I'm not giving you my phone number, okay? That was wrong information. I will give you my email address, okay? Just have to clarify that, okay? That happened. Right? And then, Samsung introduces, so Google Wallet is released in 2011. So Wallet was basically just a feature where you could actually store cards in a digitized format. That's it. There was no extension, use to that in the real world. But then the actual work comes into play when Venmo is a US peer-to-peer payment company. So Venmo, look them up, all these names, I'll leave the slides with you, don't worry. I'll give the slides to you guys. Look up all the names there and look up all the case studies that each of them has published. It's amazing the work that has gone into to take us to where we are today. Venmo is a peer-to-peer payment company. So basically, I go out with my friend, we have a nice meal, the bill is 1,000 rupees, and I want to split bills. My friend pays for the bill, and I send him transaction via a a peer-to-peer payment through Venmo. Venmo introduces that. Somebody is watching all of this. The clearinghouse in the US is watching all of this, and they're saying, why does transaction have to take few days? Like if someone sends me money, it takes 2 days for the money to come in. Why can't it be real time? And then they bring in the first real-time payment transaction ever in 2017. The first real-time transaction. So real-time is what you're seeing today. 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute, boom, transaction happens. Don't think, when we say transactions, we always think in the smallest dollar value. Think about somebody buying a house, $1 million house, $1 million being transacted across the wire. I worked for a short period of time with Citibank during my days in Wipro, and I used to run the investment banking projects that they had. I have seen billions of dollars being transacted in minutes. Billions, when I say billions, live transactions, like I can actually touch the money, literally, in the digital sense. Actually see the transaction actually going from one end to the other end. Amazing how the money moves. And this is between continents. I'm not even talking cities. I'm not talking same cities, between continents. Investment banking works that way. Excuse me. And then comes Samsung Pay. Samsung is amazing. Samsung organizes CES, is an international symposium that happens for all the technology companies. All the brands of the world come in and they talk about the latest technology that they're working on. It happens every December, the second week of December. It's telecasted live in YouTube for free. Okay? You guys should be following that. When you are here, like the staff always come to you and say, read journals. IEEE journals, how they used to bore us. Remember that? Right? Well, they were right, actually. They were absolutely right. And we were stupid enough not to understand that. For those of us who actually understood and actually did something about it, moved places. All right? So sometimes when the information comes, take 1 second to actually think, what is there in for me? Right? If you process it, inshallah, it'll be okay. Samsung Pay introduces Samsung Pay Wallet. Okay? For the first time, you can actually make a transaction with the digital card. So all you need to do is, you have your physical card, you take a scan it on your mobile device. That physical card becomes a token on your digital card, becomes a cryptogram and a token sitting on your device, and then you can connect it to a wallet and pay for a transaction. You can tap your phone and pay for a transaction. NFC, contactless payments, comes into play. Bitcoin comes into play. Bitcoin. Anybody heard Bitcoin? You guys are telling me you have not heard Bitcoin. Where are you living? Under a rock? Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. All right. That's the future. Okay, this is not financial advice, but that's future for you. That's how money is going to become. Physical money will disappear. Your cash, the rupee that you have in your hand, will disappear completely. 10 years, mark my words. Give it 10 years, it'll wipe out from the face of the planet. The smallest of the transaction will happen digitally. And that's the future. Blockchain is the technology that runs it. That's what you should be reading. If you go for interviews, these are your interview questions. Final years, note it down. Blockchains, cryptocurrencies, metaverse, Web3. These are all the acronyms you should be across and what they do. This is your interview questions right here. Right? If you're doing a project, do something about these topics. It's not too late. You can always change your topics, right? Don't go and buy these projects, right? Anybody buying projects from outside, right? So when I did my final year project, this is what I did. So my partners were 2 girls because nobody would take them, so they became my partners. And this is the deal I had with them. I said, you're going to sponsor me for the entire 6 months. That means my food, my travel, all of this is taken care by you. I'll build the project for you. That was the deal. They honored the deal, 199 out of 200. You can check. You can fact check with the mark sheet. Okay? 199. And even the script that they had to say on the demo, what is the demo called? Viva, right? Something. Viva, right? Yeah, Viva. Yeah. On the demo day, I actually wrote the script down for them, like, just read this. Look and read this, you'll be okay. And they nailed it. Now 199, 199, 199. I did my own project, and that's what, alhamdulillah, cracked my first job, because I was able to talk about it for 2 minutes. Don't buy your projects. It's waste of money, it's waste of your life. If in 4 years you're not able to write a small piece of code that is going to do what you want it to do, then there's a problem in what you studied. Of course, you may not have the aptitude, but find someone who has the aptitude and learn from him. That's what you should be doing now. Then, lastly, my organization comes into play, Mastercard. Hey, so I had to put my name there, right? So Mastercard comes into play in 2018, and we introduce biometric authentication. The problem with phone payments was, if I lost my phone, and Kritika, right? Kritika, accidentally exchanges my phone thinking that it's her phone, and she goes and taps with that phone. What's going to happen? The transaction is going to go through, right? Because the phone doesn't recognize its owner. We had to do something about it. So we brought in biometric authentication, your fingerprints, your patterns, your CDCVM, right? All of this came into play. So we've introduced that in 2018. And now the federal bank in the US, working very diligently with us, introduced Apple Pay's first credit card. First credit card with Apple Pay. It's run by us. It's a MasterCard, it's run by us with our technology, and it's a buy now, pay later product. So that's pretty much the evolution of currency in the past 2,000 years. Next slide. These are all the terms I want you to remember. If anything, if you forget who I was, what I was, where I came from, forget all that, just remember this. This is what I want you to carry home today, all right? And this is what I'm good at in doing presentations. Right? I can concise everything for you. The new forms of value exchange will happen very soon. So this is where your Bitcoin, your blockchain, your cryptocurrencies, your fiat currencies, all of this is going to come into play. Few weeks ago, I was at the AO, Australian Open, and I was sharing the room with Ash Barty, Novak Djokovic, Bill Gates, the Prime Minister of Australia. It was just an amazing, humbling moment. Like, from where I was, God takes you places when you believe, right? When you have faith, God takes you places. I could remember, these are moments of, humility. It actually humbles yourself. You actually think about where you came from, right? And we were actually talking about Web 3. Web 3 is the evolution of what we use now, is Web 2.0. Web 1.0 was probably when you were not born. Most of you are not born. None of you were born, actually, 90s, right? Remember that dial-up days. There'll be that Airtel dial-up. It makes the dial-up sound. Remember that, right? And the speed was like 56 kbps, right? 64 kbps. That's the speed that you used to get. And you'll be like, Google will take 2 minutes to load. The staff there at the back is laughing, right? Google will take 2 minutes to load. Like in 2 minutes now, people actually leave the application and walk out because people don't have the patience to wait for 2 minutes, right? People move out, right? So things have changed. And now we are in Web 2.0. The evolution is coming. Web 3.0 is coming. What is Web 3.0? Has anyone even heard of it, Web 3.0? Okay, if not, no problem. Go home, watch a YouTube tutorial about it, ask an academy for it, sign up a course online, do it with Edureka. I don't recommend anyone, go for it, do your homework and read about it. Web 3.0 is an immersive experience. It's called phygital. It's the amalgamation of the physical world and the digital world. So you'll actually be wearing glasses. So you don't have to go to the bank, but you can actually sit in your couch in your living room and actually have a banking experience. You can actually go to the bank through an app, and it'll be an immersive experience. I'm working on the technology now, so that's my next 6 months solving for that, right? So what we do there, we did a demo during the Australian Open, and we actually showed a shopping experience in the virtual world. So this is someone sitting in the couch, wearing the goggles, and actually making a purchase with Amazon. So imagine walking into the Amazon's warehouse and seeing all their racks with all their items and being able to hold the item in 3D before you actually make a purchase. And this purchase is happening in real time. So in the back end, when you're paying for the transaction, the physical card that you had is converted into a fiat currency using blockchain technology. And that conversion is happening from your physical amount in INR to digital currency in real time through an exchange. That's the technology that we are building, right? So that's what's coming. Cloud native platforms, your AWS, your Azure, your GCP, Google's cloud platform, all of this has taken over the world. That's the future. That's where all the money is going. Privacy enhancing technologies. There's a lot of regulation that is coming into place to protect privacy. So Google and Facebook were in a big problem a few years ago, right? They all went to the Senate. Mark Zuckerberg was basically, brought naked, in front of the Senate. Like, they actually stripped him down. He actually said, I made money by selling people's private information. That's what he said, right? In that 90 minutes of discussion, in 90 minutes he said, I made money from that. The marketeer there is actually panicking, right? No, that's how we make money also, my friend, but with consent, right? You actually take consent. You actually sign up to say, I subscribe for all marketing related. That checkbox that comes at the end of the payment, you tick across, that's where she makes money from, right? I Googled you, before I came here. Right? That's where she makes money. She runs a marketing company, so which is awesome, right? More female leaders, more power to the women. I'm all for that. Okay? And then comes your IoT, your Internet of Devices, your Apple Watch. Everyone here is sporting an Apple Watch. Amazing, in India, amazing. But then I'm actually wondering, what are you actually doing with that watch? Like everybody here is carrying an iPhone. Great. What are you doing with an iPhone? Right? Everybody wants an Apple Watch. Everybody wants an Apple iPhone. Great. I'm all for it. Make money, give more money to Tim Cook, no problem. But what are you doing with that phone and watch? Ever wondered what happens when you actually edit an image there? When you edit an image and convert an image from bitmap to JPEG, which technology is used? Fourier transformation. Fourier series. Remember that? Sir, adallam padchi pala varsham achu sir. 17 years, I still remember it. This is where the foundation comes into place. If you know and understand every single topic that you're reading, theory of computing is the best paper you can ever study in engineering. And you hate it, right? You hate it, right? I know you hate it. I know you hate it. And that's the reason why I tell you, theory of computing is the best paper you can study in engineering. When I was here, the staff at the time was an ex-IITian. Dr. Suresh Kumar, most of you would have known him, right? He walks into the class, finds me, paying attention please, thank you, right? He walks into the class, sees me sleeping in the class, wakes me up, and he says, why are you sleeping? And he didn't know me, that was his first day, right? So he wakes me up, makes me stand, and he's like, how many arrears? I said, no arrears. Like, what's your percentage? 76. Sit down. That's it. He never spoke to me again. Right? So it was like me sitting in the last bench, and then I became really good friends with him. The one thing he said in that class, he said, if you pay attention to my class, you will not need a textbook. And for me, it was like, oh, I'm going to save 200 rupees. Right? That's how I heard that statement. Okay? And I made sure I never missed a single class of his. 92. Theory of computing. And I trained 10 of my classmates who also passed with 70% marks. Okay, one of my friend had 17 arrears. My classmate, I won't say who. Okay, 17 arrears. He passed all of them in one semester. He used to say, we helped him. So we used to camp in the masjid there. I think if it's still there, is it still there? The masjid's there, okay? So we used to camp in the masjid, there and actually live there, like literally live there, right? Stay there, and we used to call it 1 days and test matches. So 1 days is when there is exam in the morning and the evening, and test matches is when it runs for 5 days. He did test matches 2 weeks in a row, and he smashed it. He runs, the same guy runs BP, BP Petroleum, and he manages 17 airports of the world, including the Dubai airport. That same guy. Would you believe it? So, your intelligence has no correlation with your exams. Okay? So, just getting great marks is just a criteria to have more opportunities. So, that's for the backbenchers. My brothers at the back, I'm one of you. I'm talking to you. Right? So, if you are that person who's like, I don't care, I'm actually giving you hope. Be smart, be street smart. You can smash it. You can definitely smash it. And last comes AI. Oh, this big buzzword now. Artificial intelligence, chat GPI. Okay? People are losing jobs. There's layoffs happening everywhere in the world. Yes, AI will take away jobs. But few jobs. Few jobs where human intervention is not required. Get it? humans will always be needed to think laterally, which the AI can never do. We need to be there to build the algorithms to make them think. Somebody needs to build it, right? It's not going to build by itself, right? What does ChatGPI do? Right, ChatGPI, so that's how super apps come into play, right? So you can actually communicate with your app, you can use WhatsApp and LinkedIn and all that. You can actually book a cab, you can buy food, you can, go ahead and shop, you can ask for deliveries to be done, you can, book your travel, you can book your flights, etc. You can actually play games on banking apps today, and you can pay bills, and of course, keep you posted on what is actually coming. So that's how apps have become. And that's all the things that I've talked to you about, right? So that's your 5G technology that is coming into play. China is putting a chip in everybody's body. Don't believe that. Cloud edge computing. Edge computing. Anybody heard of edge computing? Cloud computing, we all know, right? Everything is in the cloud. Edge computing is just an evolution of the same thing. Triple E students in the room? No. Right? CSE. Okay. Control systems. Okay. You would have done a paper, right? Electrical engineering control systems. EECS. You don't have it now? Oh, we did that. We loved it. It was a great subject. The staff was amazing. Very funny. Anyway. So with edge systems, imagine there's a factory, there's, it's a high pressure valve, you're actually working for BP Petroleum. Control systems, imagine somebody's actually sending gas. So Africa is going to be the superpower in the next 10 years. Can you believe that? Why? Because there's abundance of gas. They will become the world's gas market. Why? Syria is gone, Ukraine is gone, blah, 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 political reasons, war, etc., etc. Africa will take over the world. Morocco will become the world's largest supplier of renewable energy, solar energy. Okay, they have farms like covering the entire desert. Sahara is becoming a solar farm now. I don't know if you guys know it. Google it. It's amazing how the transformation is happening in that part of the world. Gas market. China will become a superpower in Asia Pacific. Okay, they will set the rules for this part of the world. US will be hanging for allies in the world and struggling for resources in that part of the world, and they will try to dominate that part of the world. Latin America, US, North America, they will manage that part of the world. So imagine there is a control pipe that is actually running from Africa. So when I say Africa, let's be specific. From Morocco to Germany, there's a physical pipe taking gas, okay? Imagine the pressure that happens in the systems, right? If something wrong goes there, for the system to actually pick up that message and transmit it to the nearest factory where somebody is actually manning a station and does something about it, the disaster would have already happened, right? The disaster would have already happened. That's where edge computing comes into place. There's local resources, the local memory and local data centers that are physically available there that would make the decisioning on behalf of the human, okay? And that will speak to the cloud straight up, and then the work, so before it picks up any pressure changes, it instantly takes it back and does an action for you. So that's edge computing. That's coming already. Intel is already using this. If my brother works for Intel, and he's actually working on this technology, so with edge computing. That's chat AI for you. For people who don't know how to code, do this. There's a code. All I told ChatGPT was, plot the results, label both axes on X and Y, and give me ticks. It actually built the whole code for me. So for people who are struggling with coding, ChatGPT, it's free. All you need is an email address to register. You can code better. In Australia, they actually made ChatGPT take the medical exams. What happened? 99.9% pass rate. So now they're actually freaking out and actually changing the whole examination model there. Like, what if people, imagine somebody studying, I did one semester at Oxford with MBA, but then I discontinued. I didn't put that there for a purpose, right? One semester at Oxford, and I just asked ChatGPT to do a essay for me. I just gave the topic. 2 minutes, the whole essay with 300 words was done. ChatGPT has been around for 3 months. 3 months. 34% of jobs have already gone. Imagine data entry people, right? People who take notes. Chatbots. Why do you need them? Right? Why do you need chatbots? They're going to do everything for you. Next slide. And those are the companies that are going to come into play and doing a lot about it. You have GitHub with Copilot that does all the coding. So again, with ChatGPT, you can do text to image, text to code, text to speech, text to video. There's so much that you could do. We can actually do deep fake with Rajnikant's face and actually make him speak English in the best way possible. Right? You can actually do that with ChatGPT. Keeper tags, it's fun. Try it. It's a good project. viable, Duolingo, all of this is coming into play. ChatGPT was acquired with 49% stake by Microsoft last month. So your office tools, your Microsoft Office, your Windows Word, etc., next year when it comes in the next version, when they introduce 2024, they're introducing with AI. Which means when you search, it's actually a computer that you're talking to. It's not pre-stored data. You'll have customized answers based on your question. Okay, amazing, isn't it? What I want you to think is, when I was actually coming up the stairs, I was thinking, thanks Kritika, you keep reminding me of my age. Like, you guys are my customers, right? You are my customers. And the kids in year 1 are your customers, your future customers, right? So if you are 10 steps ahead of me, I have to keep up with your lingo, right? Like all your hashtags and, oh my God, so many platforms to talk to the same people. I don't know why I need 10 platforms to talk to the same people. It's very confusing. I just need one medium to talk to you. So much has changed and I have to keep up with you. I am actually boomer uncle, right? In your text, right? Because if I say in my time, then you're like, oh, this guy is boomer generation. No. Yeah, I'm Gen X. You guys are what? I'm Z. You guys are Z, and I'm from X. So X, Y, and Z. So she's Y, and you guys are Z, right? The moment I say, oh, Nammagaratula means girl, that's it. Like they stamped like, oh, boomer uncle. Okay, so I worked very hard to not look like boomer uncle. I think I've done a good job. Google is coming into play. Google's building its own AI system. Facebook is building its own AI system. Meta is building its own AI system. And yesterday, I don't know if you've watched the news, Elon Musk announced that Tesla will bring in their own AI system. Okay? Amazing transformation is going to happen in the place. And that's all the jobs that are waiting for each of you. You hear me? That's all the opportunity there that's waiting for you. These are the topics that you should be worried about. And then comes metaverse. In 10 years' time, this is your future. Many times people can't make it to concerts. People can't make it to cricket World Cups. Cricket fans? Yeah? Okay. I don't like cricket. That's why I left the country. Because you people said, you don't play cricket, you're not an Indian. I said, okay, I'll leave. I play badminton and soccer. So that's my profession there. All right? Imagine going to the World Cup finals. How difficult it is to get the tickets. Right? Very difficult, right? You can't get the tickets, especially front row tickets. Imagine, and we'll try it next year. If you watch Australian Open next year in January, you'll probably see me standing there, and we will try this next year. This is our vision for next year. We are going to open the entire final match for 14 million people on Metaverse. So what it means is, if you have the device, so that device costs you about $600 Australian dollars, 500 USD, 25,000 rupees. It's going to change. It's very massive now. It's going to change. So if you wear that glasses, you can actually feel that you are sitting in the front rows of the AO final next year. Imagine doing that for a World Cup final. You can turn around, you can see people around you, you can see the stadium, you can see the players in real time, and you can actually see that when the ball runs at you, you can actually see the ball actually crossing you. You'll fall, of course, from your chair, but that is not reality, right? So this is where the blurriness happens between what is real and what is not real. The phygital technology comes into place. So what are the key areas where metaverse is going to dominate? Education. Professor, COVID times, classes, Zoom, right? Imagine all of you being seated in the classroom and the teachers also in the classroom and doing the entire session in the classroom virtually. You know how in Zoom you can actually do that? I've done it. I don't know if you have done it. I took a picture of myself, froze it, actually as I'm listening, I walked out, did my business, came back after 2 hours, the session was still going on. You did it? Good. Very good. All right? Cheat the system, right? Know the system to beat the system. Okay? Gaming. People who are gamers here, PUBG and all these technologies, I don't know. I'm not a gamer, so I don't know much. Okay? PlayStation recently introduced VR 2 months ago. Okay? 2 months ago, VR gaming came into place. Virtual gaming. Like you can actually, right now you can talk to your friend, right? You can actually see him standing next to you. You can actually shake hands with him, actually like punch people and beat people together in the gaming world. Right now, I don't know, there's so much violence in gaming. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to the good old Mario days and all those kart racing, etc. Everything is gone. right? Right now there's so much aggression, so much violence, and that's why there's so much violence in the world. Spread peace, spread love, not hate, okay? Love will take you a lot of places. Hate will take you nowhere, right? A.R. Rahman, when he accepted the Oscar, what did he say? Anybody remember that? While I take a sip of water. Anybody? I just enjoy his songs. I don't know what he says. He said, all my life, I had two choices, love and hate. I chose love, that's why I'm here. All of us will get that. All of us has to go through two types of pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of hurt. If you discipline yourself, that's a painful process, right? You want to lose weight, it's a very painful process. You have to watch what you're eating, you have to work out, you have to sleep right, you have to drink right, all of this, right? I know, you know what I'm talking about, right? Right? He knows the pain, right? Right? I was that, I was like you, okay? Transformation, man, it's possible. Discipline, all right? That's painful. But the hurt that would happen if you don't do that, get that discipline is even bad. Health problems, dying earlier, like, one of my classmates, heart surgery, 37 years, he's got like 2 heart attacks, a stent in his heart, bad eating habits, right? So that is what you need to think of, a pain of discipline or pain of hurt. Travel. You can travel the world sitting in the couch. YouTube 360 gives that experience right now. Right? YouTube 360 gives that experience right now. If you buy a Google lens, the Google glasses, which is 2,000 rupees or something, which is made of paper, you can actually experience Rome. You can actually experience the Louvre Museum in Paris in real time. You can actually walk around, turn around, and touch Mona Lisa. You can do that right now. Work. With work, when COVID, Teams came into play, Zoom came into play. Zoom basically made billions of dollars just because of the technology that they had at the time. Someone said this amazing quote: "Success is when the right preparation and the right opportunity comes together." I'll say that again. Success is when the right preparation and the right opportunity comes together. If the opportunity presents itself, if you're not prepared for it, there's nothing you could do about it. You can just let the opportunity pass by. But if you're prepared for it, you'll nail it, you'll smash it. Next. Banking technology. Banking will change. You don't have to go and queue up in the banks anymore, right? You can actually do all of that on your phone. You're already doing that on your phone. Imagine being able to do that in 3D. When you actually have to talk to a teller, you can do that in 3D. Healthcare. Being able to visualize a human body in 3D and going to the level of atom. That's where quantum computing comes into play. Right? You can deal with atoms. So healthcare will be the biggest winner there. Cancer research, etc., etc. Real estate. You can buy a digital real estate and own it in the digital world. Roblox. Anybody play Roblox here? Roblox? Sandbox, Decentraland, all of these are virtual worlds which people have built. Okay? The first painting of that got sold, which is what is called the first 100 days, got sold for $12 million USD. $12 million. So there's opportunity, there's money waiting for you to make money. And lastly, entertainment. Tupac, performed. Tupac performed his concert. Ariana Grande performed her concert. Tupac's concert, 14 million. Ariana Grande's concert, 21 million people attended worldwide. Imagine 21 million people being put into a place. Not possible, right? 21 million people attended virtually, and they had a great time. That's the end to my session. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you for your words, sir. So now we can have a question and an answer session. So if anybody having any questions, so please come forward and ask.
Sir, can you share some insights on how MasterCard is currently working on the integration of blockchain and Web3 in the current products?
Wow, thank you. That's a good question. So what we are doing in the blockchain space and cryptocurrencies. So we acquired 2 companies called Crypto Change and Coin Exchange. So 2 companies that we acquired, and what we actually do with them is we issued MasterCards to be able to accept crypto transactions. So if somebody makes a transaction on a Bitcoin or somebody makes a transaction on Ethereum, we would actually be able to process that crypto transaction in the MasterCard network. So what it means is the technology that enables the transaction to go through the MasterCard scheme network is blockchain, right? So with blockchain, we process 16 million transactions per minute. 16 million transactions per minute with blockchain. And there are amazing, amazing opportunities with blockchain. We've partnered with many, many big players in larger markets. Facebook launched Libra in 2019. MasterCard was one of the key players who were going to work with them and build the currency on the Facebook Pay platform. But at the last minute, we bailed out. We didn't do it. India has launched CBDC 3 months ago. Central bank digital currency. Do you guys know that? Digital coin. It's being piloted in Pune, Delhi, and Mumbai, in 3 cities only at this stage. Everything is digital. Coins, notes, what I was telling you, it will be wiped out. Everything will be digital currency. Okay, token from one device to the other device. So that's going to happen. So CBDCs are there. It's going to come into play. So this is state-governed Bitcoin blockchain technology, if you're still listening, right? So that is where the state comes into play. And then besides CBDCs, there are exchanges. We have, Coinbase, we have, bigger players of the world, Monova, etc., who actually are exchanges who hold a lot of cryptocurrencies. So we work with them to provide the APIs, the software or the technology to be able to do the conversion for them. We don't do the exchange work itself, but we enable them to accept payments. So the example that I told you, so I took an autograph from Novak 2 weeks ago. Right, so my signature from Novak with my name on it, I can actually digitize that, convert it into an NFT, and sell it in the exchange for $1,000, $2,000. It's actually worth that. It's actually more. I've not put it up there. No, it's an actual signature from Novak Djokovic, right? With his video. So I have video proof that it's Novak Djokovic. It's authentic. So it's an authentic NFT, right? That's my ledger there to show that this is actually authentic. So with the video, with me standing next to him and him signing, right? On my hat and my tag and everything, he did that. So I'm going to sell that convert it into NFT through using the APIs that MasterCard's built, sell it on the exchange in Coinbase, and then I'll make revenue from there. So that money in the digital world gets converted through the scheme, comes into my bank account in the real world. Make sense? So conversion of virtual money into physical money. That's what MasterCard does. Hope I answered the question. No questions from the back? 1 question from the girls, 2 from the boys. Boys are winning. Don't force them, sir. Question illana uttrunga. Vitturla. Yes. No. Actually, there's a question here. Let me answer that. So the question here is, is MasterCard the first company to work in cryptocurrencies? Unfortunately, and this is where our competition did really well, Visa did an amazing job in going after the cryptocurrency very ahead of us. Initially, MasterCard was very hesitant. We did not know whether it will play out. We were not sure what to do with it. We were worried about the regulatory implications, etc. So we stepped back. Visa came in, step ahead. They smashed the market. The biggest players of the world are with Visa today. But that's changing. So in Australia, we have done a conversion of 80%. 80% we've changed to MasterCard. We'll keep doing that in other markets as well. In Japan, it's still a cash market. It will change. It's a cultural thing. If any of you get any opportunity in working in Japan, don't worry about the food. Just travel. Trust me, you will not regret it. The best people on the planet, with all due respect to the Indians, are in Japan. The culture, the ethics, the society there, just amazing. So ever get an opportunity for on-site opportunities, take it. Don't hesitate. There are Indians there. You will find, dal chawal. Don't worry. You will find your sambar there. No problem. You will find your idli there. No problem. Okay. So don't think these guys eat raw fish. Don't worry about that. You love it. Sushi is amazing. Sashimi is amazing. You love it. There was a question at the back. Somebody stood up. Yes.
Sir, so you told that the average usage time for Google Lens is 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't think I will be able to watch a full football match in 45 minutes or roam the full Paris museum in 45 minutes. So I didn't get that.
So that was the second part. Why is this feedback? The second part to my question answer was that, right? So that's the stage 1 of where the devices stand today. They are bulky, they are chunky, they take a lot of headspace today. That's going to change. So very similar to the example that I gave you with the phones. Your first generation phones were like bricks. Today you have pocket-sized phones, right? With the best camera, best technology. The phone that you have today is powerful than the computer that sent the rocket to the moon in 67. No, 69. 1969, Apollo 2, right? So it's 1969. The phone that we have today in our hands is faster with more compute power than the computer that sent rocket to the moon. So that will change in few years' time. Give it a decade. If I ever come back again, then you can actually say that, no, you were right. So that moment will come, inshallah. Follow up? Yes.
What do you think the Indians will adapt crypto in
See, crypto is already here. In India, it's already here. Indians are very risk aversive, right? We don't want to take risk. Like, no, risk like, I want a 9-to-5 job that pays well. I want an EMI. I want a house. I want a car. Then get married. Then go to on-site. Then whatever, have children. That's my plan. That's it, right? We never take risk in life. If you never take risk in life, you will never enjoy the joys of life. Let me tell you that. Learn to take risk. Calculated risk. Okay? Learn to take calculated risk. Crypto is already here. People are already investing it. There is still an opportunity for people to actually go in and learn about it. Before you put your money in it, learn about it. Read about it. Don't just put your money just because someone tells you to do so, right? Learn what it actually means. What is the use case of Bitcoin? Bitcoin is one of the biggest currencies there, which has the market, the largest share value in the market, right? Then there are thousands of other currencies. But where is the market intrinsic value coming from? That's where you need to think and solve for. So early days, read about it. There's actually free courses on YouTube about cryptocurrencies. You already do it? Okay, good. He's checking me whether I know it or not. That's good. In my days here, because I was in the last bench, I had all these bad habits. Okay, so again, I am an example of how you shouldn't be. I'm not an example of how you should be. I'm an example of how you shouldn't be. Like, all the things that you can think of, I've done it. Trust me, I've done it. Okay? We have run a strike here in this college. We have broken glasses. We have slept in front of the buses here. We have done everything you can think of, but for the right reasons. Right? But then we had the best chemistry, best relationship with our staff, all of them. I can name every single staff who has ever given me a lecture from day one to the last semester. I walked in, I saw him, I just hugged him. I could immediately hug him. And then I saw, Mr. Salegh walking in, I hugged him. That's the kind of relationship I had. It's been 17 years since I've seen them. We'll meet panama sir nadula? Illa. We had that kind of camaraderie with the staff. We loved them, we respected them, right? If you don't learn to respect your teachers, trust me, you will not go places. Listening to them is a different thing from respecting them, okay? Don't mix them up, okay? The respect is always there. If I still see him, I still call him the way I used to call him 17 years ago. Nothing's changed. So learn that. Have that relationship with your staff. College life is to create memories. These 4 years will never come back. I've lived it, I've learned it. She can vouch for it as well. 7 years? 7 years? Yeah, 7 years. Right? And she would still miss it. Good, bad memories, right? It's a love-hate relationship. Right? You will always miss those moments. Enjoy them, relish them. If you can't create memories, then you're not having a great time. Don't just come for the heck of it. Just coming in, sitting there, somebody's coming and chatting to me, walking away. You're not doing anything. The way you ask questions tells a lot about you. You can either ask a question to learn something or to ridicule someone. So choose the best one, inshallah. Right? Going once, no questions. Going twice. Oh, wow, hands are coming up. Yes, go.
My name is Balaji. Master, I have a doubt regarding financial affairs.
I'm not Vijay, by the way, but so go on.
நீங்கள் ஆஸ்திரேலியாவில் இருக்கும்போது அங்கே இருக்கிற ஃபினான்ஷியல் ஸ்டேட்டஸ் இப்போ இருக்கிற சுச்சுவேஷனை விட நீங்கள் ஆஸ்திரேலியா படித்தப்ப அப்போ இருந்த ஃபினான்ஷியல் ஸ்டேட்டஸ் எப்படி இருந்துச்சு? பொருளாதார விவகாரங்கள் எல்லாம் சரியாக கையாண்டுருக்காங்களா? நீங்கள் எப்படி ஆஸ் அ பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ எப்படி பார்க்குறீங்க சார்?
Okay, so question is, what do I think is the exponential growth or any growth from the time I was first entered Australia to where I am now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the question.
Sir, another question I have raised up at even நீங்கள் நீங்கள் இந்தியாவுக்கு வரும்போது டிஜிட்டல் இந்தியா பற்றி என்ன நல்லா தெரிஞ்சிருக்கீங்களா சார்? டிஜிட்டல் இந்தியா அண்ட் இந்த டிஜிட்டல் இந்தியாவில் எப்படி இந்த ஃபினான்சியல் விவகாரங்களை எப்படி டிஜிட்டல் இந்தியா சரியான முறையில் கையாடுறது இதெல்லாம் மத்திய அரசாங்கம் வந்துட்டு இதெல்லாம் செய்கிறாங்க. As a point of view, what about that?
Let him speak. Please, thank you. Please, let him speak.
Okay.
Let him speak. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's all, sir.
Okay, so 2 questions, right? So first question is how do I see, whether from a financial acumen standpoint what Australia has done from the past to where it is now. The second question is the learnings in digital India, what I have learned from so on. Okay, so 2 points. First point, when I first went to Australia, it was 2009. So I graduated in 2007. 2009 is when I went, right at the peak of the global financial crisis, GFC. So I don't know if you guys were even aware of something like called that, right? That was the first time we learnt about recession in this century, right? That was the beginning of century. 2009, 2010 was the pinnacle of recession. So US market crashed completely, right? The dollar value came down to 30 rupees from where it was at 50, okay? So that was a crisis. People were losing jobs left, right and center, very similar to what is happening now, the layoffs, right? So it was happening at that time. So I went to Australia during that time. So at that time, the valuation of Australian currency to India was 37 rupees. Today is 55, as of this morning. Yesterday was 56, okay? So 55 rupees now. So things have changed. 3 things that they worked on. Listening? I'm answering you. Yeah? Balaji, I'm answering you. Okay? So sit. So 3 things that they did correctly. One is, Australia was a poor country. They discovered that the richness in the mining ores. So coal and iron ore, they are very big now, right? So they minted from that. That's one. The second, sorry, the second trade-off that they did was with international students. So the international students was a big economy for them, right? So they made a lot of money, with the international students coming in, giving them residential status, etc., etc. So that happened second. And thirdly, from a financial payment standpoint, they copied everything from America in terms of financial technology. Australia is a 100% contactless payment market. What do I mean by that is when I am there, I'm never carrying any money. I'm using my phone, tapping my phone at every purchase. All my cards are here. I'm always using my phone, right? That's one. The second thing that they did amazingly is they brought in something called as new payments platform, which is the equivalent of your UPI. So with real-time payments. So I can actually send money to anyone using the mobile number or email address. So very similar concept from here. So we have the same concept there as well, called NPP. So that's the second penetration that they did. Your second question was the transformation in digital India. UPI is the supplier, the UPI use case is the biggest concept that is currently being copied by the growing economies of the world. Every other country is copying this model. 42% of your transactions happens using UPI today, as of today. For a country the size of 1.4 billion, 42% is an amazing number. To say that we have converted 42% in transactions digitally. So that's the conversion. See, when I go anywhere, I'm always responsive, aware of my spatial, surroundings. I always look around what's happening and I ask. If I don't understand, I'll ask. I have zero hesitancy in asking questions. I have no question and a problem asking the chai wala, what he makes for a revenue. Besant Nagar, the nice lady who sells fish there, she told me the whole story of how she is making money. I sat next to her and asked her the whole story. Since 2005, those guys were actually making money out of rice alcohol. It's like sake, the Japanese version. So they were making money off that. The government put a ban on them. So those 30 families who were doing that business switched into selling fishes. So that's how they are selling fishes. They don't pay rent. So the space that they're using is free of cost. And all the money that they're accepting was going in hand. So they were not paying taxes now, right? Now with digitization, because they're accepting QR payments, the money goes into the bank account. Yes? When the money goes into the bank account, what happens now? Tax comes into play. So that's more revenue for the government. So that's why India will be the booming market for the next 20 years, easily. It will be one of the most powerful economies of the world. 14% GDP growth. US is at 6%. How much? 6%. India is at 14% GDP growth. That's the revenue India is making. So, all of you, thank you so much for the wonderful job. One more question. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So you said that jobs are replaced by AI?
Yes.
So what are the jobs are going to be replaced by AI?
Chatbots. So if you have ever interacted or ever booked IRCTC, train book panirkingla, trains, flights, your makemytrip.com, Expedia, etc., etc. You see the chat icon that comes up at the end that says, "How can I help you?" That's a chatbot, right? Behind that, there's actually an agent sitting. When it say connecting with the real person, right? It actually says that connecting with the real person in the back end. So that's you, right? So you're actually asking the same questions via text messages and responding with information that you can find from your knowledge base, right? Chatbot so that person will be eliminated with AI, because AI will be able to actually read your information, interpret it in the right way, in the right context, and then give you a response. So that's the challenge with data entry. 34% of jobs in US have already been lost because of ChatGPT. China, Philippines, it's already happening, right? Because of these kind of data entry response jobs. But that's not the end of it. Same thing was told when internet came into place. Same thing was told when Java came into place. Same thing was told when Python came into place. Same thing was told when other technologies, payment technologies came into place. New things will keep coming. Humans will always be there to do the right thing. So there's a job for all of you if you have a solution in your mind. That's it? All good?
Say, Rizwan, being a lecturer, it's pleasure listening to my student teaching me the evolution of payment and current trends in payment technology. May Almighty God bless you abundantly, my dear.
So it's a humbling moment for me. Thank you so much. Thank you very kindly to all the staff, the management, correspondent. So correspondent son and me were classmates. So we studied together. We bunked classes together. Don't tell him, right? So yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you all of you for making time. I hope it was of some benefit. So have a good one. Cheers. Thank you.